What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word? Hummingbird. Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight Australia, Season 9, Episodes 15 and 16. So, y'all, I'm really bummed out. I'm really sad today because I just found out that Married at First Sight Australia will not be airing on Lifetime anymore. They are yanking it from the network and they're putting it on Lifetime.com or lifetimeonline.com and some Lifetime app and whatever else. So it will no longer be airing on the network. And this is the reason why my recordings for it has stopped on June 1st and today's June 20th. And I was like, what the hell happened between June 1st and June 20th? Like, how come my DVR didn't record this show? So I'm scrambling around trying to figure out why my DVR stopped recording it. Well, coming to find out, I guess it was, after June 1st, Lifetime just yanked the rest of the season off of their network, and now you can only watch it online or on an app or on a streaming device. So I don't know if I have it also. You can also watch it on demand depending on your cable service provider, but I have it on demand up until episode 20. I don't know if that's the last episode of the season because I obviously haven't watched it yet because I'm seriously behind. I have no idea, but this show was good, really good. I can't even compare it to Married at First Sight America because they're just so different. But if I had to compare it, I would probably kind of, I don't know, they're both good in their own way and they're just very, very, very different. But I do enjoy Married at First Sight Australia just as much as I enjoy Married at First Sight American version. Now, the Australian version to me, if it might be like just a tad bit better in the fact that it moves really fast. So that's what I appreciate about it. It moves very, very fast. It takes out all of the unnecessary stuff. For example, we don't need 3 weeks of wedding gown shopping, wedding dress shopping. We don't need 3 weeks of that. And the weddings are quick. You meet the couple, they get married, they're on their honeymoon, then we're moving on to the next episode. Whereas with the American version, the weddings themselves take 3 to 4 weeks to air. And then the honeymoon, lasts forever. And the honeymoon part is fine, but there's no need for the wedding dress shopping, tuxedo shopping, the whole preparing for the wedding. That lasts a long time. And then the wedding themselves, it just takes forever to get to the meat and potatoes of it all because the fun really doesn't start with the American version until they go on their honeymoon. On Married at First Sight Australia, baby, they start the fun immediately, expeditiously, because like I said, they get married, then they're on their honeymoon, and then, they're moving into their apartment, and it's like all within like the first few minutes of the show. So let's get into episodes 15 and 16. Okay, so the previous episodes, we did meet the two newest couples, which were Kate and Matt, Caroline and Dion. Now let's get into Kate and Matt. Kate and Matt. So Kate is the lady that has the twin sister. She lives with her twin sister. She's never had a serious relationship in her life. She's never had a man refer to her as his girlfriend ever in life. She's never been in love ever in life, and she doesn't understand why. Well, after watching episode 15, I was like, okay, Kate, I totally understand why no one has ever called you their girlfriend and why you've never been in love and why you've never had a serious relationship. Because Kate, I'm sorry to say this, girl, but you're a dud. You're a straight up dud. Boring as hell, no personality. She always has this deer in the headlight look on her face. I don't understand why. Just nothing. She's giving me absolutely nothing. No personality, no conversation, no insight, no sense of humor, no nothing. And I'm like, wow, this is like watching Kate exist is like watching paint dry. Now, they paired her up with Matt. Now, Matt does have some issues. Matt is overly clingy, overly affectionate, overly complimentary. He is laying it on super duper thick for Kate, on Kate, however you want to call it. And it does get very, very annoying. But the worst thing to me about Matt is he probably invades her personal space too much because he's very touchy-feely. And I was really upset that he had chicken twisty breath on his wedding day. That was kind of disgusting to me. But other than that, I don't really see anything wrong with Matt. And Matt is actually really trying. Like, he's really trying to connect with her. So, but he does have some like very creepy vibes about him in a way. And that sounds crazy, me saying that right after I said that, I do like him. But because I don't say anything really. He's creepy. Yes, he's definitely creepy. But the creepiness, I think, can be, curtailed if she would just, let him know what she does and doesn't like. So it is the morning after their wedding. They're laying in bed in the dark. And it was just weird to me how they were like, she was still sleeping and he was awake and it was dark in the room. And it's funny how, because that there's like an entire camera crew in that bedroom, and I'm just like wondering, like, how did this scene come about? Did they let the crew in and then they went back to bed and the crew just kept on filming them sleep? Or was this whole scene completely staged where they were like, Kate, you're going to act like you're still sleeping. Matt, you're going to be doing this and that. There was like somebody directing their every move to make it look like, I don't know. It was just a weird scene for me. So they're slowly waking up. She's still sleeping. He's wide awake. And the whole entire time that he's laying there next to her in the dark, he is staring at her. And he's just staring at her. And that was creepy. That was really creepy because he's just laying there looking at her. He didn't talk to her. He wasn't trying to wake her up for anything. He was just staring at her sleep. So she slowly wakes up and, he starts off with the whole compliments about, I guess he said how beautiful she was or something. And he tells us that the first time in bed with her was magical. Nothing happened. They didn't consummate anything. They weren't intimate in any kind of way, but he just liked laying in bed with her. And obviously she just wasn't feeling it. So Kate is not attracted to Matt at all. This is not her type. This is not her guy. Nothing at all. She feels absolutely nothing for this guy. But Kate, sweetheart, this show is not about matching you with your perfect dream guy. It's not about matching you with the hottest guy on earth. It's about matching you with someone who hopefully you're most compatible with, who you have a lot of stuff in common with, who you can grow and learn from. That's what the show is about. So even though you're not initially attracted to Matt, can you please try to engage in some way with the human being that they put before you? Matt is trying to conversate with her. He's trying to engage with her, and she's just not having it. Now, they had arrived at their honeymoon location, and, he's doing something to the fireplace. I think he's starting a fire or something, and she's somewhere in the background looking at something. And he tries to like engage her with what he's doing, starting this fire in the fireplace. And he's telling her, "Oh, it's very warm over here, Kate," kind of like beckoning her to come over to where he's at. And she's just like, look at that clock on the wall. And it's like, what? This man is trying, you're on your honeymoon and this guy is trying to engage with you and you're just mesmerized by some old clock on the wall. Kate. Oh God. I don't know. I don't know what to say. So then there's a scene with them outside of their villa or whatever it is. And Matt is in the swimming pool and she's sitting in a lounge chair. And, he jumps into the water and she complains about how he got her wet, with him jumping in the water. Once again, he's trying to be playful. He's in the pool. He's swimming. He wants her to join him. And she's just sitting there in her lounge chair. I don't know if she's like, and then also she has no facial expressions. So it's like, you don't know if she's annoyed, if she's mad, if she's sad, if she's troubled, if she's happy, if she's comfortable. You just have no idea with what's going on with her. She just is like, there's nothing going on with Kate. She's like a mannequin, an automaton. She's comatose. It's just no personality, just absolutely nothing. Like I said, even if you're not attracted to him, you can at least try to engage. And I'm beginning to think that even if they did match her with the hottest guy on earth, her perfect dream guy, I have a strong feeling that Kate would act exactly the same. So So we're still on their honeymoon. They're having dinner, and she happens to open up about her past. I think he asked her a question about her past relationships, and she talks about how she's never had a boyfriend, never been in love, no one's ever called her their girlfriend. And I don't remember exactly what he said to her, but he sounded very sympathetic. He was like very understanding. He was trying to really engage with her in this, conversation, this very sensitive conversation. He even commended her for opening up to him and being brave enough, to talk about something that's so difficult for her. And, she appreciated his response to her. But then, like, soon after that, it was back to Automaton Kate. The rest of the honeymoon, she was like physically there, but like that was it. There was no other type of engagement on her part at all. So I don't know. I give Matt points for trying, and I'm pretty sure he can sense that she's just not that into him, but he's doing the best he can. Moving on to the other new couple, which is Caroline and Dion. Now Dion to me looks a lot, I don't know if I said this before, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but he really reminds me, it's crazy, like I keep thinking of that actor, I think his name is Rob Schneider. I think that's the guy. I think it's Rob Schneider. I just keep thinking about him every time I look at Dion. So the next morning after their wedding, they tell us that they didn't consummate their marriage, that no romance happened, but they both, it appeared to be like they were kind of happy with each other. And I was a little bit surprised initially because it looked like Caroline was okay with Dion. And I didn't think that she would be because he didn't look like that was her type. So as the day goes on, or as the honeymoon goes on, they have to do the honeymoon box where it's like a box of questions. And the first question is, what part have you played in the breakdown of your past relationship? And Dion says that the part that he played is in the breakdown of his past relationships was that he was never ready to commit. So that was his wrongdoing. That led to a lot of breakups, I guess, with the women probably wanting more from him than he was willing to offer. And so that's the responsibility that he took. He wasn't ready to commit. And I guess he would end up, breaking up with them. So then she says that she starts talking about her past boyfriend or her ex-boyfriend and how she had discovered he was cheating on her through text messages and credit card charges on his bank statements. And so she realized that he wasn't being faithful, and he wasn't just cheating on her with some random woman or some woman that he knew. He was cheating on her with a plethora of women at a mature woman's brothel. I was like, what in the world is that? I mean, a brothel is a brothel is a brothel, but there's a mature woman brothel. So I'm imagining like a brothel full of like the Golden Girls or Golden Girl type women. So her boyfriend was cheating on her, like frequenting some type of brothel. And that really did answer the question because she talked about how someone else was responsible for the breakdown of her relationship. And the question was, how were you responsible for the breakdown of a past relationship? So she really didn't answer that question. Then the next question that they asked was, are you attracted to me? And this was a question, I don't know who asked it first, but Dion said he was obviously very attracted to her. And then she says to him, y'all, this is what Caroline said to Dion. She says to him, you're not my usual type, but there's potential there. I don't know what the hell that means because his looks are not going to change. Maybe I guess she feels like the more she gets to know him, there's the potential of becoming attracted to him. And then she says to him, but I'm not attracted to you yet. Then, okay, and that was fine. Okay, that was fine. I was cool with that answer. Okay, you're not my usual type. I'm not attracted to you yet, but I do see some potential here. Perfect answer. She was being honest. She was being sensitive. She wasn't trying to, break him down or anything like that or being insulting in any way. For whatever reason, at some moment, and it looked like it was during a break in filming because, the camera was kind of jiggly. He's just kind of pacing back and forth, like waiting for the next scene or something. And she starts off by saying, I know the producers are going to be mad at me for saying this, but she says to him, that women are only probably attracted to him because he's wealthy. And the type of girl, and that's not the type of girl that she's that she is because she's not fake. Like, why would you tell him that? Like, what happened between you saying, hey, I'm not really feeling it now, but there's potential, and then all of a sudden you go to the, if anyone has ever been attracted to you, it's because of your money, and I'm not going to fake it and say that I'm attracted to you, just because you're rich. I'm not that kind of girl. Like, what was said in between? I feel like there was like a whole conversation that went on that we completely missed, because I didn't understand how she went to being, very sensitive and diplomatic, to just being offensive and rude. And so then she says to him, "Do you think that you're so hot that nobody could not be attracted to you?" And he tells her, "Plenty of women are attracted to me." And then she looked at him like she seriously doubted that. What happened? Like, why would she say something so awful to him? I mean, that might be the truth, but you don't gotta voice that. Like, what the hell is your problem, girl? So I thought that was really mean for her to say, any woman that was ever attracted to you or that you were ever with was only with you for your money, and that's it. But then again, he likes to brag about his money a lot, and nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear a braggart go on and on and on about their wealth. It's very tacky. And he did do it a lot in the beginning. I don't know what's going on with these people. That was just strange and weird. So moving on. So then moving on. Now we have a brand new couple. And I'm just like, y'all, I can't take it. I can't take it anymore. There's just too many couples, but it's fun. It's fine. So our third new couple is Jessica and Daniel. I don't know how old Daniel is. He looks to be like late 20s. Jessica's 27. Collectively, this is a very attractive couple. It reminds me of Mitch and Ella. Very, very attractive couple. And they both, what they both have in common is that they've both lost a sibling. Jessica lost her older sister to breast cancer, and Daniel's older brother died by suicide. So they have that in common. Jessica comes from a very close family. She wants to emulate her parents' marriage. She admires her parents a lot. Whereas Daniel, his upbringing was very, very rough. Daniel has an alcoholic father and a mother who basically abandoned her kids. So his mother was not in the picture. His father was an alcoholic. Plus he was abusive on top of that. So he's had a pretty rough childhood. So Daniel is a personal trainer, and I'm not exactly sure what Jessica does. Jessica currently lives with her parents. So on their wedding day, it's actually raining, and she says that she doesn't mind because she loves the rain. And I think there's like this old wives' tale or something that if it rains on your wedding day, that means it's good luck. No family members attended because of COVID restrictions, and like I said, this was a very good looking couple. Physically, aesthetically, they looked really good together. And when he sees her, he's really happy with what he's was given. He's happy, he's attracted to her, he finds her very beautiful, etc. So they get married, exchange vows, do the whole thing. He notices her blue eyes. She's got dark hair and striking blue eyes. He does notice that. So now it's time for was it at their honeymoon? I don't know if it was after. No, it wasn't. It was right after they got married because she was still in her wedding gown. So it was right after they got married, and it was during dinner. So they're having dinner and they're talking about their families, and that's when they found out that they both have lost a sibling, and so they really connect with that. And they have like some really heartfelt conversations about loss and about family and what family means to them, etc. And then they're outside having a drink, and they're talking, conversating. She's sitting next to him, like on this bench, and her legs are crossed. And like she kind of hiked up her wedding dress a little bit so you could see her legs. She crosses her legs, and he has her hand on her knee. So they just met, but they feel very comfortable being physically close. She feels perfectly okay with him putting his hand on her knee. So there's like this connection between them. There's this chemistry between them. And I'm like really happy, because who doesn't want to see an attractive couple get along and have chemistry and just hit it off right from the beginning? So while they're conversating, she makes a comment about, well, when I have my real wedding, I want to wear trackies. I have no idea what that is. I'm assuming it's an Australian term. And so he kind of was like, he kind of, you see the wheels in his mind turning. And when he has his little one-on-one with the producers, he says to the producers, he's like, I don't know why she said when I have my real wedding. He said, this to me is the real deal Holyfield. This is real to me. This is a real wedding, a real marriage. I don't know what the hell she's talking about, or some real wedding that's going to happen in the future. So he felt kind of hurt about that. So when he came back to sit down with her, he really wasn't himself, and she sensed it, that something had changed. And then he gets up to go use the bathroom. Then he comes back, and now she has to like mention it. She has to ask him like, what the hell happened? Like, what's wrong with you? And he says, well, you said that when you have your real wedding, you're going to wear blah, blah, blah. This is a real wedding. He says, this is real to me. I mean, I don't understand. Like, what is this to you? And she says, what I meant was when we can have a wedding with our friends and family and no cameras. I'm pretty sure like we're going to do that, whether with each other, if it works out, or with other people at some point. But if we do stay together, that's what I was kind of hoping for, that in the near future, we'll have a wedding where our families and our friends and can be a part of it, not like a show wedding. And so he was like, okay, I understand. He understood. But then he kind of felt bad that he reacted the way he did because, she didn't have any ill will behind what she said. She just was like, I would rather have been here with my family and friends. And that's all that she really meant. So he kind of wanted to kick himself for reacting the way he did. So the next morning, they wake up. Nothing was consummated. They wake up. She took out the extensions in her hair and she looked like a completely different woman. I barely recognized her. So, but she was still cute. So they go out to the stream to go paint because he's an artist. He's a trainer, a personal trainer. But at some point in his life, he was also like a mural artist. So they go out by the stream. It's really pretty outside. And, they're painting and they're talking about their families. And after he tells her like the tragedy that he suffered as a child and, his alcoholic father and the mother who abandoned them, she really feels for him. She's like, I see him in a completely different light. And she says that he's a remarkable human being for enduring all this stuff that he's endured. So I'm like, yes, this is going really good. They're vibing, they're connecting. I'm loving this. Then that damn box of questions. I don't understand. I mean, it's interesting to watch people squirm when they ask these questions to one another. But if you're like really rooting for a couple, when that damn box opens up, it's going downhill, and it's going downhill fast. So the question was, they ask each other all these questions, like one or two questions, whatever. But the catalyst, the one that kind of really ruined everything was, first, the question was, do you find me attractive? Okay, they both said yes. She told him, you're not really my type because I go for more of an Italian, Mediterranean type. But I do find you physically attractive. You are physically attractive. And of course, he found her attractive. So then she says, if there's anything about me physically that you would change, what would you change about me? That is a loaded question. Okay. When a woman asks a man that question, is there anything about my appearance that you don't like? Is there anything about me that you'd want to change? I don't know. I don't know what advice a man can be given, but don't answer. Or just say, baby, you are perfect. There's nothing about you that I would change. And I don't understand why he didn't say that. Now, of course, maybe he was worried if he did say that, she would see through the BS. Or I don't know. I don't know. I think it's time to act like, you're having a heart attack or something. Like fake a heart attack, a stroke, painful indigestion, explosive diarrhea. Just do whatever you got to do to get out of that situation, because that is not a question that you want to answer, honestly, because no matter what you say, either she's not going to believe you, she's going to think that you're BSing her, or she's going to be offended if you do give her a real answer. So you're stuck. Okay, you ain't got nowhere to go. So he says, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I'd rather not answer, which to me is just as bad as pointing out something about her physically that you don't like. It's just as bad by saying, hey, I don't want to hurt your feelings, because then the imagination runs wild. So then she's probably thinking, oh my God, it's so bad he can't even say it. At least he could have said, well, your eyes are just like a sparkling blue. I wish they were bluer. Or something stupid like that, Or I think your natural hair is so pretty. I don't think you have to wear the extensions. That's what I really thought he was going to say. I really thought he was going to talk about the extensions and say, you don't need those extensions. Your hair is really cute. You look really cute with your own natural hair. No, this guy decides to say, I'd rather not say because I don't want to hurt your feelings. And she was like, go ahead. No, just I'm fine. Just say it. What is it about me that you'd want to change? And he's like, I really don't want to ruin the night by saying anything. I really don't feel comfortable saying anything. And I was just like, wow. So then she said something like, it's not a big deal. And he refused to answer. So then the night was over. The night was ruined. So she gets up, she goes to her room, he goes to his room. They couldn't even sleep in the same room. He says in the middle of the night, he can hear her. She calls somebody up on the phone and she is ranting and raving and cussing at whoever she's talking to on the phone about him because of, I guess, of what he said. So the next morning he confronts her like, what? I overheard you talking about me in the middle of the night. And then she evidently called him a little bitch. I'm not exactly sure how that came about, but she called him a little bitch. I don't know if for confronting her, for overhearing her, or for what he said the night before, but that's what she did. And she said some other choice things that I'm not going to repeat. So I'm just like, wow. And that's another thing. Ladies, if you're going to ask a man that question, please be prepared. Please have the wherewithal to be prepared. Don't sit up there thinking, well, I'm going to ask him, well, what is it about me that you want to change? And think that he's going to say, baby, you are perfect. There's nothing about you that I want to change. No, because some men are going to give it to you and they're going to give it to you raw. And you're not going to like it. So if you're going to ask a loaded question, be prepared for some people to be brutally honest. And don't dog them out for being honest, because you're asking a question, they're going to give you an answer. So don't even dog them out for being honest. Just take it like a trooper, take it like a soldier and keep it moving. So now everything is ruined. So now we're moving on to the next episode, episode 16. This is the episode for the dinner party. So they're showing us everybody arriving at the dinner party. The two new couples, Kate and Matt, Caroline and Dion. They're arriving. Dion shows up in a Balmain jacket, which is sparkly, like a big old disco ball jacket. It is so sparkly. And he is ready to throw down. He is like the life of the party. He shows up, everybody's like so happy to see him. Everything is wonderful. Everything is fine. Oh, by the way, let's talk about our older couples, our OGs, and what they're going through. So Sam and Al, Al being the really immature kid, the 25-year-old, and his wife, Sam, they finally consummated their marriage. So things are going well with them. The real Celine has reared her ugly head. Selena was doing good. She invited Anthony back into the apartment. Everything was going pretty well. Well, that didn't last too long. So Celine she became completely unraveled because Anthony had put his feet up on the coffee table. She lost her damn mind. So now she's back to giving him the cold shoulder, not really wanting to engage with him. She's completely shut down because he put his feet on the coffee table. And she thought it was disgusting because that's where they eat. And she said just thinking about it gives her the shivers. That just the thought of him putting his feet on the coffee table completely sickened her. So Celine is back to hating Anthony. So at the dinner party, on their way to the dinner party, Jessica and Daniel, our newest couple, they had an argument about the air conditioning in the car. Daniel had asked the driver, he was too cold. So he asked the driver, can you please turn it up? No, he says, can you please turn it down? I think that's what he said. Can you please turn it down because it's too cold? So then a couple of minutes go by. And then Jessica's like, well, if you were too cold, why do you want him to turn it down? Like turning the temperature down. Wouldn't you want him to turn the temperature up? Shouldn't you have said turn it up? And Daniel is just like, what? And he's like, he gives a little explanation. It doesn't even matter. So they start arguing about the air conditioning and the term that he used to make it warmer. Should he have said turn it up or turn it down? So to me, it was clear that he just he just didn't want to have this stupid conversation. And he was just like, What? What are you talking about? I need it to be warmer, so I want him to turn down. I guess he meant turn down the coldness and turn up the heat. And she was like, well, you said that you asked him to please turn it down, like turning the temperature down will make it even colder. So, and it was like, girl, it doesn't even matter. Okay, you're not the one that's cold or hot. He's the one that. And then she had the nerve to say, well, I'm just trying to help you out. I was just trying to help you clarify for him. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter whether the guy did it or not, whether the air got colder or hotter. It really doesn't matter. He didn't care. So she goes, well, you always are making such a big deal about everything and you get so emotional. I didn't see him making a big deal about anything. I saw her making a big deal about it all. They get to the dinner party. As soon as they walked in, because nobody has met this couple before, nobody has met Jessica and Daniel. So when they walk in, everybody's just like shocked and surprised. And I mean, they literally react as if, I don't know, I can't even think of a big time international pop star. They act like, I don't know, J Lo or Mariah Carey or Kim Kardashian walked in. The way that they reacted, they were just like screaming. You know, they acted like some big famous pop star just walked in, because everybody's face was just like shocked. Mouths were open, eyes were open wide, tongues were hanging out. Everybody was like, oh my God, because they hadn't seen this couple before. It was just so weird. So they walk in and everybody, gathers around them and they introduce themselves, so on and so forth. And it's really obvious that there's something going on between them, because as soon as Jessica and Daniel walked in, they both went to the opposite ends of the room. So there's obviously some issues. To make a long story short, whoever Jessica was talking to, she automatically started talking bad about Daniel. She was like, oh, we're just not getting along. We're not vibing. And I had to call him a bitch because he's a real bitch. He's a little bitch. And everybody was like, what? Like, what is going on here? When they all sit down for dinner, your girl Demonica got to get to the bottom of it. So Demonica was asking Jessica, like, what's really going on between y'all? And, Jessica just really doesn't give any straight answers. She gives these really vague answers about we're not getting along. He's too emotional. We're just not clicking. And, Daniel is like, yeah, she thinks I'm too emotional. I don't know why she thinks that, but that's what she thinks. And yes, we're not getting along. We're in a really bad spot right now. Now, off to the side to the producers, Daniel says that he wants to get along with her. He wants to fix this with her. If she was willing to fix it, he's completely open to fixing their issues and moving on with their lives. So at the dinner table, Demonica just cannot let it go. And so at some point, after listening to Jessica and her not really saying much of anything, but putting a lot of blame on Daniel, and Daniel is just sitting there next to Jessica completely defeated, not really even able to defend himself. So Demonica's had enough of it, and she tells Jessica, you're acting like a child. So Jessica gets upset with Demonica. She gets up and she moves to the other end of the table. So they're talking to Daniel and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And Daniel's like, yeah, she says, I'm emotional. No matter what I say, no matter what I do, she just accuses me of being too emotional. She calls me names and we're just in a really bad spot. So then Demonica gets up, moves over to the other side of the table where Jessica was at. And she's like, you need to go over there and talk to your husband. And Jessica looks at her like, who the hell are you to tell me what to do? And Demonica's like, well, what is really going on? You haven't really said anything. Like, you haven't said anything that he's done to you. So can you please give us an example? And so a couple of other people are like, yeah, give us a specific example of what Daniel has done to you. And so she's just like, well, well, we're not getting along. And then she talks about the air conditioning story. And they're looking at her like, girl, don't nobody give a damn about that. That ain't nothing. And so Demonica's like, okay, you had a little argument. Who hasn't? That doesn't mean that it's over. And, well, we're just not getting along right now. And so Demonica's like, well, who in here has ever had a moment where they felt like them and their spouse were not getting along? Everybody, except the golden couple, everybody raises their hand. Like, they've had moments where they were not getting along. Things were not vibing, but they pushed through. So Jessica's had it with Demonica. Demonica's had it with Jessica. But you know what? While all of this is going on at that end of the table, at the other end of the damn table is Daniel and Caroline. Now, If Daniel and Jessica were not vibing, Daniel and Caroline are clickety clackety clicking. So Caroline found herself sitting next to Daniel, and they're having a conversation about their marriages. And so then no, Caroline tells Daniel that, yeah, I'm not really, attracted to my husband. And so then Daniel is like, well, what did you ask for? And she says, well, I really wanted somebody tall. And they gave me somebody who's like really, really short. And she says, and he doesn't even work out. She's referring to Dion. And she goes, and he doesn't even work out. Like, he says he's never been inside of a gym. And all he does, he'll go walking. He walks in the morning, but that's it. And so Daniel was like, he walks. And so I'm looking at her and I can kind of see like she's kind of checking him out because Daniel is buff. He works out, he's toned, and he likes to wear those shirts that are 2 sizes too small so he can, his muscles can be bulging out of the fabric. And so she's just like, checking him out. And so then she asks him, out of all the women in this room, because he tells her how he's not really clicking with his wife and, they're having issues, so on and so forth. And so she says, well, out of all the women in this room, who would you, what is more your type as far as physical appearance? Because obviously I can't say personality since you don't really know anybody here. But as far as her physical appearance, who's more your type? And he looks around and he looks around and then he looks at her and he's like, you. And she's like, well, don't tell my husband that. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. Everybody's like really focused on Crazy Jessica and showstopper Dion. No one's paying any attention to the other end of the table, the quiet end, where it is Daniel and Caroline getting to know each other. Now, I don't know if this is an indication of anything or it's just two people having a conversation and that's all it is. I don't know, but I cannot wait to see the next episode. Side note, Selena and Anthony, they have a full-blown shouting match at this damn dinner party. I don't even know what the hell they were shouting about, but they were screaming at each other at the table, at the dinner table, while everybody's sitting there eating at the dinner table. They're shouting at each other. I don't even, just about the relationship, how they're not getting along. And Anthony tells Celine, you're incapable of being in a relationship. You're just incapable of it. And I was like, right on, brother, right on. That is my review of Married at First Sight Australia. It was a really good episode. If you made it this far, I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, subscribe. If you don't like this content, don't worry about it. But thank you so much for stopping by anyway. And I will definitely talk to you later.